Hey guys, you're watching Grooves and Motivation Live. This is Jermaine Morgan from Jermaine Morgan TV as well. So today we're going to be talking about what's next, the next step for musicians. It's going to be a good talk, so stay tuned. Good morning, everybody who's chiming in with this live today. I'm excited to be here and to share with you all. And yeah, I think this is going to be a really good talk. This actually came about from a Facebook live that I did on yesterday. And I'm like, man, this would be a really, really good topic for Grooves and Motivation Live. So that's what the idea came about. So while y'all kind of straggle in and you invite your peoples in, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of grooves here. So yeah, we're going to jump into this thing. So be sure to let me know in the comments, as always, where you watching from. That's always cool to see. So let's jump into this groove. London in the building. Good morning, Nathan. Afternoon, or whatever it is for you. Montreal. What's up, Chris? South Carolina in the building. Sean, I see you. Illinois. Swaziland. Zuzi. So you can't hear the bass? I'm actually kind of playing really soft too. I'm not really digging in right now. Salute. I'm born here. Virginia in the building. Truck drivers on here. Yes, sir, Andre. Jacksonville. Yeah, I'm tuned down to B flat. You must got your bass out. Yeah, so I normally tune this bass down to B flat for a lot of the music that I play personally. Anytime I'm teaching rather, I'm tuned standard, but the 6 string and anything I play like on a normal is tuned down flat. Call in music. Good evening from Nigeria. Good to join in. Just a beginner basis. Just wish to own an electric bass. It's coming soon, man. Oh, don't worry. These tracks are getting recorded, Sean. I just try them out on y'all first. I just try them out to see how y'all like them. And yeah, man, this is definitely getting recorded. Carlos, I see you, man. He said, give us the bass improvise. Greetings from Colombia. Thailand is in the building. Gavin, man, good to have you here. Skarabi, I see you. And everybody else that's jumping on. Let's see what this feels like. Try this. I don't know if I can loop it in real time because it's playing off something else. Slight lag behind because it's not real time. I ain't mad at it though. Too fast. So I can play with this looper. This track is playing off of something else, and I can use the looper to loop on top of the track. But it's not synced with it, so I have to be really, really precise. Even in that, because of human error, it'll either go too fast or behind. So you got to time it just right. But if it's real long, it's hard to line it up over that long period of time. Digitech Jamman Stereo. That's the looper I've been using for 10 years. I also use the Aros looper by, I can't even think of the brand. Aros Singular Sound, I'm sorry guys. I use that one as well. You hear the overtones a little bit. All right. Welcome everybody, and thank y'all for listening to anything I say or do or play. I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it lightly. But yeah, let's jump right into this this talk here. Queens, New York. I see you, Andrew, in the building. KP, I see you. Anybody else I missed, I'll try to come back around to you, hopefully, by the end of this. So I won't be super long today. Like I said, this talk was sparked from a live that I did on Facebook, really impromptu talk that I did yesterday. It was something that was on my mind, on my heart. One thing that I've been seeing over the years, man, has been this consistent thing with musicians, us professional players who are in like a transitional state, whether that's transitioning from, playing a live gig or being transitioned, like you've been fired from a gig or you've been let go of a gig for some reason or another. That it's weird. I've been seeing a lot of that happening. I'm seeing musicians moving I would say over the last 6, 7 years. Granted, it's been happening the whole time, but the older you get, I think you pay more attention to that stuff. And one of the things I've seen is really, really great musicians on like not really having anything waiting on them once they finish the gig. And what I mean by that, it's like a lot of musicians, because I do teach. I'm a bass coach, and I do lessons, and I sell lessons on the site. So all this stuff, the solo stuff that you guys are asking me about, I teach this. I do this on my website, and I've done some of that stuff here on YouTube, a lot of that stuff here on YouTube. But one of the things I've noticed with musicians is once we are finished with the gig, they're like, oftentimes there's nothing there. It's almost like, it's a terrible analogy, but I think you'll really get what I'm saying with this. It's like the guy he went to jail for something that he really didn't do, and he took the fall for his homies or somebody like that. And when it's time for him to get out, you know, he gets out, been in there for, let's say, 20 years. And then the day that, they let him out, everybody know he's coming home. They know he's being let out. And he gets out, he goes out of the gates, the prison gates, and there's nobody there. There's nothing there waiting for him. So for those 20 years of his life that he gave up in this prison, and this is, again, terrible analogy, but I think you'll get the point. 20 years of his life he gave up for something that he really didn't do. And, we're not going to talk about the idea of that decision. So that's neither here nor there. I'm talking about a specific thing right now. So this guy gets out, and there's nobody out there. I'm talking about not one homie. Out of all of the people that he saved for them to enjoy their life, nobody showed up to even pick him up to take him home. And so he gets home. Nobody celebrates the fact that he's out. He's done that time, and now it's over with. He's back home. And as a matter of fact, it's a lot harder on him now because you're a felon, right? You're a felon, so it's a lot harder on you to move forward because your record is kind of like, it's not sweet. Or it's something you don't have any other skills. So this is kind of what you're stuck with. You got to figure out how to do something really fast, or you're going to end up back in the position that you were in before you came out, right? So it's I don't want to go too far down that road, but it could be a bad thing to experience for somebody who's been in that situation. Some of you listening to me right now, because I know this is worldwide, I don't know who's on the other side of the screen, you might have experienced that. And if you did, man, I'm sorry, because that yeah. But the life of a musician is oftentimes like that, especially a musician who's performance driven, performance based, meaning everything is riding on gigs and your calls that you get, sessions, all of that type of stuff. And if the majority of your work comes from those types of things where somebody is always hiring you to be their bass player, to be their keyboard, whatever instrument you might play, then it can be a rude awakening once all of that is over with and you're no longer the guy, right? Because I think all of us are ambitious when we start, whether you start just for the love of the music. Once we start kind of reaching a level of, if music is the thing that we're after, like that's our goal, like to be able to play music for, a living and just enjoy our life and spend our days playing music, you can be up for a rude awakening when you realize that you don't necessarily have anybody coming to the rescue once your gig is over. So many musicians have went through that part of transition. And so I went around the world to make that point about the transition, and so that you could kind of see, like, and this could be for you, this could be a gig that you've done for many, many years, and now that gig is no longer a thing, or they decided to go a different direction. Or it could be something that you're just, I'm tired of doing this type of thing, and I just kind of want to settle down. I still want to play, but you notice that there's hardly anything available for you to do. And so where does that leave you? Because if your income has been based on gigging, and I've seen even a lot of older cats that I've known in my years of being a professional, cats that are still gigging, not because they want to play that much, because they have no choice. So it's almost like I'm having to take anything anybody hands out to me because I got nothing else going on, and I spent all of my life developing these skills, and this is what I do. This is what I do well. And what do you do, again, when you're not that guy, when you're not first call anymore, when you're not the guy that they're recommending for the session? Even the people that you were loyal to for all of those years, you notice they're calling other people now. They're not calling you anymore. I mean, you were loyal to these people. Now they no longer call you. There's a new young hot cat in town that, that's more preferable for this particular producer, this artist, this band leader, whatever the case may be. And so now you're slowly getting slid out. This, I know this could be a lot. And I'm saying this, and this might be way far off for some people, but I'm saying this to kind of get your mind on some things, to make you think long term about your career, about the decisions you're making as a musician now, the decisions you're making that will eventually move you forward, that will give you that next step rather, because those are some things that have to be on your mind. And again, I talk about these things as a real thing that I have to think about, because I think for me, the switch happened when kids came into the picture. My wife and I were married. I'm young. I got a gig. I'm doing my thing. My first child came when I was about 29. 20. Yeah, I think I had just either turned 29 or I want to say 29. We'll just we'll leave it at 29. So once that happened, I think I started becoming more aware that I'm responsible for more than just me and my wife. Like, there's a whole nother life here that I have to provide a future for. And so I need to start thinking like, and it didn't happen overnight. I'm not going to give y'all that idea that all of it happened overnight. I was already working on some things, but I think when my daughter got here, it kicked into overdrive for me. And I really started considering, like, what am I doing? Like, dude, what are you doing with your time? I mean, you're playing these gigs. And then the other thing that made it come home for me was the fact that this little girl is growing. Like, every day she's changing. I don't want to be doing all these gigs and doing all these things, and I'm not ever able to enjoy my kids, enjoy my family. I'm always gone. That's all they know of me, is when I'm at home, I'm just learning music to get ready to go again, right? And not that that's a bad thing. That's what we do. You can't be at home all the time. And if you are here, like me, being an entrepreneur, you're working. So finding that, I ain't gonna call it balance, but finding the time to make sure your family gets their time as well as you doing what you're supposed to do. It can be a challenge. But if you're strictly a gigging musician, that can definitely be a challenge, because there's no time for anything or anybody else. And not to mention the anxiety that can come with a lot of these gigs. You're doing a lot of work, you're learning a lot of music. And that's the nature of the game. I mean, you're a musician, but some of this stuff can be overwhelming. And if you're not looking into alternative things, then you could be setting yourself up for a fail in the long run. Unless, like, you're an artist or you have some situation or you're really, really cool with somebody who's going to keep you on the bill forever. But unfortunately, and this is to the point, another point of what I'm talking about, too many times I've seen musicians transition, meaning check up out of here. They're gone. And we've been seeing that a lot with different musicians, and not just recently. I'm talking about over the years that I've done this. I've seen musicians that transition up out of here and like they have nothing. And they're phenomenal musicians. And like, wait a minute, something's not adding up. So you're telling me this cat spent all of these years perfecting this craft, perfecting this gift, and at the end of it, like, long term, you got nothing to show for it other than a couple of TV appearances, placements on a few records, that kind of thing. But as far as you being served for the gift that you developed all these years, there's nothing. So it makes me, I'm a deep thinker. I'm sure y'all have picked up on that by now, but it makes me look at things a different way. So it's like, wait a minute. So if this cat has spent all these years perfecting his craft, and now there's nothing for him, and so much so people got to chip in and take care of his family when he's gone, or her, whatever, you know what I'm saying? They have to chip in and take care of the family, because as good as this person was, it wasn't enough to serve them long term. And again, I know being a musician, oftentimes we're thinking gig to gig. Most of us are. We think about, some of us think about health insurance and those types of things, and life insurance in the event of your death. But what about something beyond life insurance? Like, I mean, no matter what that policy is, at some point, if you check out of here early, your kids got to still live a full life. And yeah, they'll hopefully come into something. But what if you could do something as a musician that let your kids, have the type of future that an athlete or somebody like that would give their kids. You know, something along those lines. Somebody like a star, somebody like that. Like, why is that not possible for most of us? And I know because we undercut all the time. We don't get paid enough. But how do we change that? The conversation that we're having today, what's the next step? Like, what do we go from here? How do we change that? What can we do to start creating something that serves us long term? And I believe one of the things that we can do is, and I've mentioned this many, many times. You're gonna hear me mention it again because I don't want us to go down in flames as musicians. Like, it's great to do a great performance, but after that, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you did a dope performance. Let's say pinnacle of your career. You perform at Madison Square Garden with whoever the artist is. Well, guess what? All your family gets from that is maybe a video if somebody recorded it. You got paid for that gig, and whatever bills you owed, you took care of those bills, and that's it. Outside of your legacy or your family knowing you did some great things, how does it benefit the next generation? I'll wait. It doesn't. And I know this is like, for some people, this could be offensive. I'm not trying to be offensive to anyone, but I'm tired of seeing us as musicians, because I've had friends that I know to check up out of here, and in their worst state, like, these cats didn't have what they needed, and they didn't have all of the necessities. And because they couldn't work, they didn't have anything else going on for them that would provide for them. So I'm like, man, that doesn't even make any sense for this person to be this knowledgeable, for this person to be this amazing as a musician, and beyond their gift and their gigs that they done, there's nothing there to serve their family or anybody else moving forward. It didn't make any sense to me. And it just, it just might be me. This might just be a burden for me, but I want to put it on your mind, not to have you worried, but to have you thinking. You come to YouTube and check out a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of bass players that do a whole bunch of stuff. But I know one of my things is I won't put someone in your mind. You know what I'm saying? I want you to think about this stuff, because once you get to that level of where you want to be as a player, what you think is that level, man, if I could just get to there, you never get there. I'm sorry to tell you. And I don't mean to say that your playing is never going to be good. That's not what I'm saying. Meaning every time you get better, the bar moves. It keeps moving. So you're chasing this constantly moving bar. If you're a person that's always wanting to get better, the bar continues to raise. So and with that being said, when you say something like, man, once I get here, I'll be straight, you don't know where that is, because your ear grows as your ability and your skill grows. Everything grows. So again, it keeps moving. It always is moving. You're always trying to perfect that last thing. So we can spend all these years perfecting things to end up being the perfect musicians who weren't satisfied with anything that we do. And I'm not saying anything is wrong. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. Perfecting your skills is necessary, right? Perfecting what you do is necessary. But beyond that, like, what's the long-term goal here? It's like, I want to get this gig. I want to land this opportunity. And then what? Right? So whatever your biggest goal is as a musician, after that goal, and then what? Right? Like, how is this going to serve me? Just say, if my goal this year is to be play 60 BPM faster, that's not my goal. I'm just throwing something random out there. To play 60 BPM faster than I can right now, and it'd be clean and it'd be polished and it's like really, really good. And then what? Because once you reach that goal, what? Nobody's going to come to you and give you a big bag of money or give you a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow or come pat you on your back. Congratulations, you made it. Nobody really cares. Like, you're good, and that's about the sum of it. I'm going to show you what people think about you and you accomplishing that big goal that you were just trying to accomplish as a player. You post something on social media and people look at it and it's like, oh man, that was dope. Fire, fire, fire emoji. That's the sum total of all those 6 months that you just put in, right? It's like they look at it and they keep swiping. They keep swiping. And I hate to break it to y'all like that. So if you're looking, and maybe some of you guys, this is not a big deal for you because you're not looking for affirmation outside of, what you're doing. But we all like to know that people appreciate, our level of playing. But try not to get caught up in that. That ain't even what this talk is about today. But I just want to put something again on your mind. You have to think. You have to think long term. And then what? After I accomplish that goal, and then what? How? And the question you want to ask yourself, and I think really good entrepreneurs ask these questions. How can I serve people, or how can I solve a problem? So if you want to write something down, that would be the and then what for you. How can I use what I have acquired to solve a problem? Now, that doesn't mean everybody needs to become a bass teacher or a music instructor. That doesn't mean that necessarily. But there might be some things that you've acquired along the way in route of trying to become the best bass player, the best guitar player, whatever. You're going to acquire some things along the way. So with those things that you acquire, how can I serve this? The things I know. Some of y'all, you play music on the side. That ain't even your main thing. You just enjoy it. You listen to me because you enjoy it, right? So you do something completely different. You might make some potato salad or something like that. How can I serve people with what I do? Okay, let's take it out of the realm of music because I don't want to make this thing too boxed in to where you're only thinking music. Okay, so I got so many thoughts running through my head right now. I'm just trying to narrow it down to one, the example that I want to use. All right, so you fish. Let's go random. So you fish. You're a fisherman. Ideally, how does that serve anybody? How does that serve anybody? Okay, I'm going to give you guys this parable that I taught my kids the other day about, teach a man, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime, right? Most of us have heard that. And if you haven't heard it, congratulations. This is your first time you heard it now, right? So again, that analogy is parable rather. You give a man a fish and he'll eat for one day. But if you teach him to fish, he will eat for a lifetime, right? Because you can always go and fish. So the example that I gave my kids, I said, so just imagine I'm a fisherman and I got spare fishing poles like all around my house or whatever. So this cat comes up to me one day to my house, like, yo, man, I'm hungry. Can you help me, with some food? So I give him some food the first day. And I asked my kids, I said, so what does he do? What does he do that next day? They're like, he comes back and asks for more fish. I was like, of course. Right. So he comes to fish. I said, yo, man, let me show you something. And I give him a fishing pole and I said, follow me. I take him out to a lake, not drown him. Yeah. I don't know why I said that. So I take him out to a lake and I start showing him the process of, baiting the hook, and putting a cork and all that. I hadn't fished in like 20 years. So y'all forgive me, y'all real fishermen. But I still want to fish though. I got to get with my guy, Mike Stamps. He's a pro fisher. I'm on a rabbit, a rabbit trace. Anyway, so all right. So I teach this guy how to fish. All right, let's get back to the point. I teach this guy how to fish. And so as this guy is learning, he catches one little fish, right? And it's like, it's all right. I mean, I can snack on that. I'll be straight. And so he keeps going. He stay out there, for a couple of hours. And before you know it, he caught a fish like that long, right? So he's going to eat pretty good off that one, right? But he doesn't stop there. He keeps going because I tell him, I'm encouraging him. I'm teaching him something, right? I'm teaching him a concept. I'm teaching him a principle. So he fishes for the rest of the day. And so by the end of the day, he has a big cooler, a big bucket full of fish. And I asked my kids, I said, how long do you think he can probably eat off that fish, him and his family? I said, probably all week. Right. So he can probably eat all week off of that fish. I said, guess what? He only fished, and don't tune out on me, y'all, because I'm talking about fish. He only fished for one day, right? And he caught that many fish. And so his week is free. He had enough fish to feed his family for that one day. But let's say he comes back. This is Monday. Let's say he comes back Tuesday. His family is straight for the week. He catches, he's got the hang of it now, right? So he catches a whole another cooler full of fish. He goes and sells those fish, right? And so he makes a profit off of the fish that he sells. And so he's like, hey man, this might actually work. And so he grabs another person that's been asking him for food. Now that they know that he's coming up in the world, he got a little bit of, all right, man, I see you and your family eating good. Can I get a piece of fish? And so he repeats the process. He teaches this man how to fish. And so he hires him to work for him, right? And so now they both catch up enough fish that this man can feed his family. And now they go and sell the fish, right? And so the same thing repeats itself. And he brings another guy. He hires another guy to come out, teach him how to fish. And so he started him a fishing business. He's selling the fish. He's feeding him, his family, and he's making a profit now. And he's hired people that he's paying because the skill that I gave him, instead of just giving him something, I figured out what need he had. He didn't just need to eat. He needed to learn how to build a business for himself. That way he's eating and making a profit and hiring people himself. So he don't have to keep coming to me asking me for fish, right? So the idea is, what small thing can I do? Like fishing, we could have thought of that as so insignificant, but if I teach somebody that idea, that concept, it now serves them in a bigger way. Well, what if after about 6 months or so, maybe 3 months, let's not go that far, 3 months, this guy's so overwhelmed by how much he's progressed because of his fishing business, he comes back and like, man, I really appreciate you. I just want to be a blessing to you because you gave me something that I didn't have, and I gave it to him for free. I served this gifting to him, but because he felt so blessed, he felt obligated to come do something for me. He's like, man, ain't no way I can continue to make all this money and my family have food all the time and I not do anything for you. So he comes, give me a big seed, give me a big gift of however much money because I taught him how to fish. And so now something that I did on my spare time, wasn't even, thinking nothing about it. I'm just trying to help this guy. It came back to bless me. And so this stuff like this, scenarios like this happen all the time. But I'm already going with my fishing business. I'm already doing something with mine. So I didn't really need that, but that was extra. And so we have different things that we can do that we can serve whatever we do to the world. So now I seen how that benefited this one guy, right? Because I've been fishing, right? So I seen how this benefited this one guy. Let's bring it modern technology, right? So what if I could find a way to teach more people this skill so that they could get their families, off of the street, or teach other people how to basically how to duplicate this skill. So what I do now is I go out there to the fishing bank, set up my camera, and do a walkthrough of everything I showed this guy how to do. This was a homeless guy, whatever. But now there are other people who were looking for some other form of work that they can do to make a little extra money. I'm like, look, this homeless guy, he's going to be my proof of concept now. I took this homeless guy and I taught him how to fish, and he caught all of these fish and he made all his money. He started hiring people and he started, a 6-figure business from fishing, right? From what I showed him. So I want to show you how to do the same thing. So I create a course to teach people how to do exactly what I showed this homeless guy to do. And I started selling this course. And these people are being helped all around the world, getting extra money and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, I'm getting paid for this course as well. So this thing is going to serve me. Guess what? When I get too old and I can't fish anymore, my kids can still sell that course and teach people how to fish over it. And you might say, man, folks know how to fish. You know a lot of people who know how to fish. But there's always somebody in the world who doesn't know what you know. I had a good friend of mine told me something that was really simple but profound. He says, just because it's easy for you, it doesn't mean it's easy. So what am I saying with all of this, going all around these rabbit holes and everything? Here's the point that I'm making. You have something that you do well. Maybe it's in music. Maybe it's in something else. But you could package that particular thing, create something, and it don't have to be a course, but something that serves you and serves the people that you're trying to help. You could put it in a book form, right? You can, how to fish, how to become a fisherman. That book outlives you. A course outlives you. And then if you figure out a way to market this thing, you don't, and here's the thing with a book. My son just shameless plug. My son just released a book. We published a book for my son, 8 years old. He wrote his first book. If you want to look it up on Amazon, it's called The Singing Monster. Jonathan Morgan, The Singing Monster. If you have little kids and you read to them before they go to sleep, this is the perfect book. It's a little short book, a little funny, silly book that he wrote. It was a homeschool assignment that he and his sister had homeschool assignments about writing. And so this book turned out pretty good. I was like, hey, man, he was like, I want to share this with some other kids. So we put it together. My oldest daughter illustrated. She's 10. She illustrated the book for him. And we published the book. So my son, 8 years old, has published the book. And the beautiful thing about this book is, once again, this book will outlive me, and it'll probably outlive him. When we publish it through Amazon, so it's, you can, again, go right to Amazon and get the book. We are getting ready to do hard copies as well, but you can order a hard copy off Amazon if this is something that you want. But the point that I'm making here, I'm not just all over the place. The point that I'm making, my 8-year-old son has created something that's going to create continuity for him, meaning he can continuously make money off of this. He done the work one time. He done that work one time, and he can continually make money off of this book for the rest of his life. And not only can he make money off of it, his kids can make money off the book. His grandkids can make money off the book. His great grandkids can make money off the book, because this book will outlive him, right? So I just want to get you guys thinking. There are some skills that you have that you're sitting on. And it's like, man, I don't know how to create no course. I don't know how to do. Well, what do you know how to do? You got to look at it. Look outside of what you're currently doing right now. This was one of the main reasons that I wanted to write the book, 10 Ways to Success, The Working Musician. Another shameless plug. It's on Amazon. It's on my website. I'll try to, if I don't have the link in this description, I don't know if I have the link in the description or not for my book, but if not, I'll come back and put that. If you guys want to grab that book, 10 Ways to Success, The Working Musician. And what I did is I literally wrote down all of these different things that I've done throughout my career that created money for me outside of playing a gig, right? Outside of playing a gig, finding other ways to create money for myself and for my family, so that I'm not dependent on one gig, one stream of income. Because all it takes as a musician, and some of you guys know this because you've been doing this for a while, all it takes is for somebody to come in there on one on the wrong day, and you be the right person at the wrong time, and you're out of there. You did absolutely nothing. I've talked about this many times before. And again, I keep repeating this because I want you to be aware of it. I want this to be something that you actually consider, this to be something that you actually think about. I want this to be something that you think about. Somebody could come in your gig one day, whoever's over the gig, their wife done made them mad, or their husband done made them mad, or their boyfriend, or anything. They come in and it's like, yeah, I want to go a different direction. Or like with artists, I talk about this all the time. They want creatively, they're feeling something different. It's like, I feel like I've been doing the same thing too long. I want to change it up. I like this little young cat that's on Instagram. I really like what he does. And your gig is gone. No disrespect to the artist or whatever. No hard feelings to the young cat that got the gig, but your gig is gone, right? You cool. You're not bitter, but your gig is gone. You need to supplement that income some type of a way. What are you going to do? You have to figure out something that creates some, and I keep saying the word continuity, some type of, because for us as musicians, most of us don't have a retirement plan. I've been fortunate enough in my career to have several outlets of, income that have been a blessing to me at different times. But I'm gonna just be honest with you, they don't always hit. I had some stuff placed on film, TV, and I've got the big lump sum payments, and then I've got the trickle in payments, right? So, it's like, it's not consistent. It'd be different if it was like the something like Fresh Prince. Well, I can't say that right now. Maybe something like Gunsmoke or something like that. That's still in rotation. Me and my family watch Highway to Heaven. that old Michael Landing show. We watch like we old school. So my kids they like the show as well. So we watch those old school shows. So with that those shows are still in rotation. So whoever was the music producers, music whoever put music on those shows, they're still getting hopefully still getting paid. They're drawing royalties off of that. But that's rare to get a show or something like that it continuously pays you. Now if you're a songwriter, producer, that's a really good thing to be into. That way you're getting points on the record. You're getting royalties off the songs that you write. And so if you get a hit song with an artist, you get the royalty checks consistently off of those artists if that artist does well. Now, there are things that I've written as well. Like you get that one payment, and from that point on, that's it. Like it goes down. Other than having it on your resume, it doesn't really serve you as well as you would think. Unless that song is a Thriller type record, and if you got a Thriller type record, you're good. But let's be honest, that's stuff like that is one in a million. I'm just being honest, and I got to be honest with you guys because I believe that's why you come here. Outside of me playing the bass, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I want you to think about these things, just like people that are trying to go to the league as football players. Like there are only so many major artists that are out there, and what do you see normally? When you see these major artists playing, you see a lot of the same cats on these gigs. And that's not to say that this cat over here is not, qualified or equally as good as this other person over here, but people have their picks. Like when we go back in the day and think about the cats that we know their names, like the Lewis Johnsons and the Nathan East and the Larry Grahams and the Marcus Millers, like we know a handful of bass players, Carol Kay from way back in the day. We know a handful of bass players who had all the work. Jamerson, Motown. We know Jamerson because he had all the work. So what does that say? Everybody is not going to get the call. I don't care how good you get. Like everybody, that doesn't, now hear me clearly, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't go after this stuff. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to pursue being the best, whatever your ambitions are. I'm not trying to discourage you from that, but I do want you to have in your mind as well that I might not get that call. I hope I do, but I might not get that call. What I done with my career over 10 years ago, I stopped waiting on the calls. Now, in the meantime, I've gotten a lot of great calls, like some really good calls, and God be the glory, and it's been a blessing. But what I stopped doing, I stopped waiting on people to call me. I remember as a producer, my first real record that I would consider I produced was my mom's record. My mom is a singer, and I pushed her and pushed her. Mom, you need to put something out. You need to put something out. You need to put something out. I stayed on her about recording something, and we finally, a good friend of mine, Zeke Listenby, we finally kind of put our songs and our resources together, and we created a record. I'm like, I was doing little singles and stuff here and there. I had like a major placement on some gospel stuff, but like I wasn't getting an opportunity to produce anybody's record. And I'm like, I need to be able to stretch my own wings, so to speak. I need to grow in this area. And if I'm not getting an opportunity to do it, how am I going to know what to do, how to do it, how to even know if an artist comes to me, how long it takes me to put together a record? What are the things I need to consider? I needed the experience. So because nobody was giving me a shot, I created my own shot. And that's what some of y'all got to do. Stop waiting on people. And I'm going to say this with attitude because I want you to feel the passion behind this, because this is just real talk. Stop waiting on somebody to give you a shot. Stop. I'm going to tell you dead straight to your face. Stop waiting on somebody to give you a shot. First of all, if you know, and this is not for you who are being lazy, right? This is for, like, if you're being lazy and people are not calling you because you're lazy, then people are not calling you because you're lazy. And you know the reason why people are not calling you. I'm talking to you like you one of the homies now, right? So people are not calling you because you're not doing the work, if that's you. But if you know for a fact you're putting the work in and you're showing up, you're doing all the things and you're still not getting a shot, then you're going to have to take matters into your own hands. Now, in the meantime, while you're taking matters into your own hand, you do leave yourself available at times for the calls, because they will come. Some calls will come, but a lot of the opportunities, I got to be 100% honest with you guys. A lot of the opportunities that ended up coming about for me was because I took the initiative, because I wasn't getting a shot. I took the initiative and said, you know what? I'm going to make my own path. I'm going to make my own path. I'm going to figure out this thing on my own. And, if I can pull from other people who've done it and pull some nuggets and some wisdom from them, I'll do that. I'll get mentoring. I'll get counseling. If you got to go sit down to lunch with some people and get them to drop some nuggets with you. And here's another thing. When you do that, if you're gonna seek counseling from somebody, or if you're gonna bother somebody for their time to get wisdom from them, so to speak, do them a favor and take your notepad or your phone or something out and write notes when these people talk to you. It's a good habit to practice, because if somebody of influence, or somebody that you quote unquote value what they do, or you look up to them, the least you could do is, when they share this information, write it down. At least make it look like you care about what they're talking, because we all know there's no way you're going to retain all this information that somebody's telling you. There's no way. Half of y'all have forgot half the stuff I said at the beginning of this talk, and I'm still here. So you know good and well, if somebody is talking to you, giving you valuable nuggets, I don't care how good it was, and you're like, oh man, that's good, I got to use that. If you don't write it down, you ain't going to use it, because you're not going to remember it. I tell you that from facts, because you'd be like, man, I was talking to Jermaine the other day, man, he said something so good, I wish I could remember it. Man, he said something about it was a fish or something, man. Man, as soon as I remember, I promise you, I'm gonna hit you. Too late, bro. You lost it, right? So write it down. Anytime people are quote unquote dropping jewels, and you know they're jewels, write it down. Because here's the thing that I've learned: you'll be going through your notes. Or at least I do. I got so many notes in my phone here, like about everything and everybody. Like I literally, you can't see that well, but my notes is full, because I'm always taking notes. There you go, Nathan. You know what I'm saying? I'm always taking notes, especially if I consider this conversation valuable. I don't care who the person is. If they're saying something that's really, really good, and I had to learn it over the years now. There have been times that, I've had a lot of valuable information shared with me, and because the source that it was coming from didn't seem like, whatever, you didn't take it as serious. But now it's like I'm learning in my, as I mature, I'm learning, like, you can, what's the saying? You can learn a lot from a dummy. I can take notes on what not to do watching this cat. Oh, okay, this cat showed up late and just watch. You know what I'm saying? You could take notes. It ain't all about sitting down with somebody all the time. These are life lessons, guys. It's not all about sitting down with somebody all the time. You can watch what people do. And I think I learned that from a kid. You can sit there and watch what people do, and watch how this person, maybe that's in a power position, and responded to that. Make a mental note or write it down. Okay, don't do this. Oh, if I'm not the MD, I noticed when this person blurted something out, the MD didn't seem like they was really feeling what they were talking about. So don't suggest anything unless they ask me, right? Even though I might know and I might have some dope ideas, I'd rather be asked up to give my ideas than to be asked down, right? There's a scripture, there's a parable that talks about that. It's better for somebody to invite you, like take a lower seat, right? Sit down somewhere. In other words, don't always try to give your thoughts just because you think you know. Because if you're not the person that's appointed in that position, you could do more harm than you can good by blurting out or interjecting something that you think. But if you wait for your opportunity for you to speak or you to share your ideas, or a lot of times what I've seen in my own life, a lot of times you doing what you're supposed to do and your leadership, sometimes, like especially with social media now and YouTube and those type of things, if you know you're a dope producer, you're a dope musician, but they might only know you for being a bass player, polish your craft. Like I was saying earlier about creating opportunities for yourself. It's your responsibility to do that, because if I am the world and you are the person who has this amazing gift, how do I know to come to you and ask you for this gift? If I don't know you have it, but if you um, figure out a way to make this shown so I know this is what you do, then I know to come to you for this thing. If I never seen you be a music director, I don't care how dope you are. I don't know you can do it. I don't know you can do it. I never seen anything that looked like you would know how to be a band director or direct musician. So why would I come to you and offer you a gig to be a music director when I have no fruit of anything that you've done? But if you can produce something that shows I can do this, I am good at this particular thing, then people, it translates and they know, oh man, call Jermaine, call Melvin for this. I seen him on YouTube. He was MDing something and the band was killing, man. So yeah, call him. Or it might be word of mouth. People find out about you through word of mouth, seeing something that you've done, hearing about something that you've done. That comes back to your integrity, your accountability, you showing up and being who you are all the time, regardless of how many people are watching. So that means you go do a little hole in the wall gig, be you there. Don't wild out because you think ain't nobody seeing you. And then if you do a gig with 30, 40,000 people watching, be you there. So be consistent with who you are everywhere you are. If you're online, posting on Instagram, be you there. I'm really careful for you guys that follow me. I had to rebuild my Instagram all the way over again. But it's J Morgan Bass again, by the way. If you're not following me, at J Morgan Bass on Instagram. But I'm really careful that I don't try to put out anything that misrepresents who I am. I'm not the cover guy. Sorry. I've even had people that comment on my channel and say like, man, you could really grow your YouTube channel if you just, start doing more bass covers and all those things. And I'm like, yeah, I probably could. But organically, that's not me. I'm not that guy. I don't sit and learn covers all day. And no disrespect to the people that's what they do. It's dope. And I enjoy it. I enjoy watching cats who do that stuff. And they're really, really good at doing covers and all this kind of stuff. But that, I might do one every now and again. I might cover something because I like the song. But just as far as me doing something and following the crowd because that's what everybody's doing to grow there, I'd rather people be around me because they want to be around me. And I know somebody going, well, how are people going to know you out there? Is ways for people to know you out there, being authentically you. And if it takes longer to build your following, to get to the thing that you're trying, it's okay. At least it happened organically and not by happenstance. Like you just, like a person happen up on your stuff and see it, and it's like, all right, it's cool. And they don't show back up. I'd rather people who are going to follow me or listen to something that I'm doing, you follow me because you know exactly who I am and what I'm about. Because if I post a cover and that gets your attention, and then I turn around and post a scripture the next day and you unfollow me, that means you didn't know me and you didn't know what I was about. So now you're offended. And I'd rather you just know who you're dealing with up front. So I don't play certain games. I don't do certain things that don't represent who I am. So in all of these things, I'm hopefully you guys are really getting something from this. But in all of these things, we have to consider everything when we're trying to look at what's next for us as musicians and see how we can serve what we have to the world. Because if we don't ask the right questions, do the right things, we'll never see how our gift can further serve other people. And like I said, that's not limited to you playing this instrument. That's not limited to your musical gifts. We have other things that we do outside of music, and those things could be serving us as well. So now when you do come back to music, you do enjoy it, right? As I said on last week, when I was talking about the broken musician, that kind of thing, it's like once you get something that serves you and you can serve your gift out to the world, and you're getting compensated from that thing and you're getting all the affirmation you need, then if you're playing for a church or playing for some other type of gig, then certain things don't bother you as much. They don't irritate you as much, right? Having somebody that books you and call you in and they don't have that much money to pay you, but you know they're good people, it doesn't bother you. It's cool. And this is not a strain for me because I'm not putting my family in a position to come and to be a blessing to you, to help you do this thing. It's not costing me. Like I'm gonna come do a gig, I'm spending $75 in gas and you pay me $100 and I gotta eat before I go home. That don't make sense. Right? It doesn't make sense. My V8 folks out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, the little V6s and the 4 cylinders, you know, y'all still doing $30 and $40 at the pump. But you got a V8, you know, you coming with it at the gas pump. So anyway, guys, I don't want to spend all day on this. I think you got the point. So we want to think long term. Consider what we're doing. Consider how this gig is going to serve us in the long run. And these are some things we want to be mindful of. So anyway, I just want to share that with you today. Hopefully this has been super, super helpful for you. Again, I don't know if I put that link in the description. Let me check really quick to see if I actually dropped that link for the book in the description, because if I didn't, I'll do that. I'll try to drop it in this live chat if I can. If I can find the link really quick. If I can't find the link quick, I'll just add it later to this video, because I know almost after one of these lives somebody is asking about the book, so I want to show you where it is. Let me find it. Let me the autograph copy. If you want a hard copy, sign hard copy, let me give you the book, and that way you can kind of look at these things for yourself in terms of some of the things that I've talked about, in terms of you doing something that serves your family, something that long term, or even considering ways that you could be making extra money that you're not depending on one gig or the bad attitude of somebody that could just ruin your whole life if they're having a bad day. We don't want that. So let me give you this link. I almost got it, guys. Give me a second. I'm having to go through these different pages and find it. There it is. All right. I'll drop this in the live chat right now. Here we go. So you can get that on the website there. I just dropped it in the chat. I think you can click on that here. And if not, I'll put that in the description after this video, where you guys who are watching in the replay, you can go grab this book as well. I'll put the link up here somewhere where you can grab this book from me today, and see how that can help your life. And I will say this for you that don't know, it's an easy read. This first book, I'm writing another book right now, so stay on the lookout. But this first book that I've written, it's super easy read. I think it's like 70 something pages, and it's double space. So it's a short book, y'all. Really, really easy to read. Sean Lewis, thank you, man. I am Base, thank you. I see Chris says, I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. Man, Chris, I appreciate you listening. It means more than you know for you guys to even take out the time to. I don't take any of that stuff for granted. And the cool messages you guys send me, who comment on the videos, if you're watching today, I really appreciate that. All of that stuff is encouraging. I'm a human just like y'all. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else. So all of the, encouragement, all of the positive feedback that I get from this stuff is definitely appreciated. And I just want to help y'all, man. Just truth be told, I want to help you all and save you all time. Even with my business, the problem that I solve with bass lessons and those types of things, I had a hard time learning. I took music theory in college, and I struggled big time with music theory. Even my performance as a professional, I mentioned this yesterday in my live, some of the stuff that I did gig wise was, because I struggled with stage fright. Like I really struggled with that. I got intimidated a lot as a player in my earlier years, and that's something I dealt with most of my career. And I started finding different ways to deal with that. And so a lot of the content that I share, I realized that I'm not the only one dealing with that. And even in my coaching calls, the negative conversations that we have with ourselves are a lot of times the things that are holding us back. It ain't got nothing to do with your skills. It doesn't. Like sometimes it does. And you could be a person, you're getting defeated mentally, and that's why it's not connecting with your hands. I've seen it in countless players, and if any of my students are on here, they could co-sign this statement. But once we unlock what was really going on with them, and that it was more mental than it was physical, then their playing start like increasing like by leaps and bounds. Because once I figured that out in my own playing, it's like, wait a minute, I know this stuff. And I really started to figure out, wait, I know what I'm doing. And like that fear, that second guess and all of that stuff, once it started going away, my playing got better. It's like I wasn't practicing more. It's like something clicked for me, and I started realizing, like, wait a minute, it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing that people are dealing with. It has absolutely nothing to do with your skill. If you can overcome the mental first, you know, all the other stuff will come to you. I want to leave you guys with this. Y'all know who I am, what I'm about by now. If you don't, welcome. So all in all, to wrap all of this up, you know, to wrap all of this up, to send you guys off and to send you home, I want you to think about this. This is a verse, Psalms 1, verses 1 through 3. Some of you might already know this by heart. It says, how blessed is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scoffers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in that law does he meditate day and night. He will be like a tree firmly planted by streams of water, which yields fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and whatsoever he does, he prospers. Right? Whatever he does, he prospers. Be careful of what you, musicians. This, I don't know if y'all realize it, but this instrument is spiritual, man. This, not just this instrument, the instrument of music in general, is spiritual. There's a connection there. So you got to be mindful of what you take in. You got to be mindful of who you listen to, right? All of the stuff that you're taking in, the advice, the counsel that you're taking from people. Maybe part of the reason why we struggle as musicians because we listen to our peers who tell us to do this or to do that, and it didn't even work for them. And they're not even rooted and grounded in faith. And so now you're listening to somebody who cannot serve you, and they're telling you something. How can somebody else tell you what your potential is when you don't even know it? There's no possible way for them to know it. I ain't even maximized my potential with as much that I've done. I haven't fully maximized my potential. And so people who looked over me when I was younger and looked over me for gigs and all those different types of things, they had no idea I was going to become this guy. So if those people who were the experts look over people like me, didn't have no idea that I was going to become this dude, what does that say about you? So be careful who you receive your counsel from. It says, nor stand in the path of sinners. Be careful who you hang around. I put up something the other day on Facebook, basically, bad company corrupts good character. The people you hang around, even if you're not a bad person, it can give you a bad rep. So possibly the reason why you're not getting called for certain things is the folks you hanging around. Folks associate you with a certain crew and they don't call you because of that. So it says, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law does he meditate both day and night. I'm not trying to tell you what to do or anything. I'm just telling you what works for me. This book is old. This Bible that I'm reading is very old, but these principles still work. I'm a living witness of it in my own life, and I only share with you guys what I know is the truth and what works for me. That's the only thing I'm trying to share with you guys. And if it makes sense to you, do it. If it don't make sense to you, hey, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I don't have heaven or hell to put you in, so I can't, send you anywhere. But I do want you to consider these things. And it says, he will be like a tree firmly planted by the streams of water, which yields fruit in its season. So the ideas that you have that will create the future that your family needs, if you delight yourself in the Lord, man, he's going to let these things, number one, he'll give you what you should be desiring for. So you'll start getting ideas, you start getting inspiration of stuff like, I ain't never thought about doing that before, right? Like several friends of mine I've been talking to lately, and we get on some really great conversation pieces that we're talking about. And they're like, man, I feel like this should be a podcast. And it's like, but I don't know about that. So when it's an idea that's coming to you, you're a little reluctant about it, but it's something that you really, really feel strongly about doing. God has given you a desire in your heart to do something. That's good. You know what I'm saying? That serves and it moves you closer to what you're supposed to be doing. He's giving you that because you're delighting yourself in him. And these ideas come about because we're talking about certain things, and we're like the word, to be specific. We're talking about the word, and just sharing, iron sharpening iron, sharing conversation, sharing ideas back and forth about what we just read. And out of that, ideas come. So I'm delighting myself in him. He's giving me the desires of my heart by way of these ideas. And so I serve these ideas out to the world, and they come back and they serve me. And so I'm like a tree planted by the streams of water. Now, when it's my season, when it's my time to get what's mine, it's coming back to me. Right. And so, the leaf does not wither, and whatever he does, it prospers. So I can guarantee you, it's gonna work. If you're doing these things, going back to Psalms 1, if you want to look it up for yourself, the book of Psalms. If you don't have a Bible, you can Google the Bible now. So Psalms, spelled with a P, Psalms, right? So Psalms, not Psalms, Psalm without an S at the end. I'm sorry. Psalm 1, you can look that up. Psalm 1, verses 1 through 3. You can read the whole chapter if you want to get a full understanding of it. But I guarantee you this stuff works. It works for me. And if you will do it, you'll see the results of it happening in your own life. That's not to say that you won't have difficulty, but the more you put in, the more you will get out. I can guarantee you that. And it will be worth the effort. It will be worth the effort. It won't be easy, but it'll be worth the effort. So that's my time, guys. I just want to share those things with you. And yeah, I hope it blesses you. All right. I'm Jermaine Morgan. Thank y'all for hanging with me. Much love. I'm out. Peace.